with your personality sun or your conscious core essence having the 9, this is the taming power of the small or focus. Here we have our 4th look at the cross of planning. We have the juxtaposition cross of focus, and we have the left angle cross of identification, the second version of it. So now when we get here to the 4th version of the right angle cross of planning, this is about the taming power of the small. It's all about the detail. The other gate that talked about small was the 62, which was the preponderance of the small. And now we have the taming of the small in the 9. Both of those particular gates are in logic, and both of them are about detail. So the 9th gate is a key to detail, looking for the small things. This is where the expression of a journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step. That's where that comes from. It's all about the appreciating the very minute, small detail in everything. And out of those small things, great, large, grandiose things can grow naturally. So this is very important when it comes to planning, having those details. So when we looked at the 16 in in the second version, when we had the 16 in the sun, the 16 gets very enthusiastic and it wants to build something. Just give me the energy and I'm going to build it. When we take a look at the 4037 aspect of it, this is about the core of planning is about having those basic needs, right? Oh, we need a shopping mall. We need a good school. We need a good sewage system. There's those basic things that a tribe itself actually needs to have a quality of life, to have a quality neighborhood, to have a quality community. But when we look at planning through the lens of the 9, this is where it is all about accumulating the energy for detail. It's not about just going out there and haphazardly doing it. It's about accumulating that energy so that the smallest, minutest detail isn't overlooked. So what I want you to remember is that logic, any of the logical collective stream, it is quote unquote starved of energy. So it's always looking for someone to allow it to do its work by paying it to do its work, by providing it to do its work. So if you have a 12-hour job somewhere else and you're trying to build your side hustle, let's just say, there's not enough energy to focus in on those details after that. So what's important is to be able to finance yourself in a way that you can focus in on the details. So moving that side hustle into your full-time gig. So that's what's important, is to have somebody or something finance you in order for you to concentrate on those details. So with this cross of planning, it is very important, because once you get past the task of bringing the necessary energy together, then it provides the continuing energy to focus on the detail. Of course, planning benefits from detail. And here is the only place where you really have that sensibility. And that's what the 9 brings us. It brings us this sensibility and those details that need to be focused on to bring it forward. So there's going to be all kinds of bargains that happen here in this cross of planning, in all crosses of plannings. But the bargain is to be able to have the energy to focus in on the details. So what do I see here? I see finishing carpenters here. Anybody that is going into that very, very minute detail and identifying deeply with the skill that they bring and being enthusiastic enough to bring that skill to the community. So I see a lot of finishing work, that detail work, that editor, the proofreader, that that detail, walking through all of the logical steps and tweaking all of that detail. That's what I see here for wealth accumulation. So if you are looking for a side hustle and you want to be able to turn that into a full-time gig, really, really show the power of your detail work. And then when we have the juxtaposition of focus, so the pressure here goes from the tribal support of the 37 and the 40 to the 64 and the 63. So there's a pressure of inspiration. So the pressure of inspiration can be quite uncomfortable for those who have it, but it is very inspiring to those who don't. So this cross is about finding the focus. Logic suffers from a lot of frustration due to the lack of material, the lack of resources. And the ninth gate is very concerned about being able to have enough resources to focus on the detail. In this configuration, with that unconscious doubt and confusion as to whether any of that can be actualized, the plan is beginning to fall apart because the planning works without the agreement of the tribe. There is no agreement with the tribe. So here we have planning that is entirely collective. So 3/4 of it is logical and basically caught up in the unconscious at the mental level. So here, there is all this intellectualizing on whether a focus can be found. Is there something worthwhile planning to do? And never mind whether we have the resources. So this cross is seeking out the focus. So by the way, in the passive nature of the 9 and the 52, things come into focus. They come into view rather than trying to focus on things. So that's what's important here, is that all of a sudden our community aspect is gone, and now this is mental. So this, how I see this is inspiring people to focus in on the details and focus in on their own skills, to pull out their depth and to pull out their ability to concentrate. So what I see here, I see those architectural drawings, they call it the CAD system, how the architects and designers can bring together all of this. It's really inspiring people into looking at those fine details and then being able to, put that into focus for people. So these are the people at the start of the planning. I saw the planning aspect over there. I saw those finishing carpenters because they're working in the community. They're getting a real focus. They're using those skills that way. Here, it's inspirational. So this is the process where we're inspiring people. So this is where I see that detailed work, laid out on a map, like blueprinting and inspiring all kinds of different transformational, mutative forms that allow us to step into a new aspect, a new future. And then when we get to the left angle cross of identification, so with the sun in the 9th gate, the identification is with detail. When we had the 16, we were identified with skills and enthusiasm. Here, we're identified with the details. So these are people who won't join anything unless there is support for it. So these are not the people, left angle cross of identification. You guys need to have a secure job, a secure career, a secure money source so that you can be inspiring. Because the minute there isn't that security, then that doubt and that confusion take over in your life. Insecurity is going to completely create mental chaos in your world. So when you can really focus in on your skills, when you can focus in on being an inspiration and not have to worry about collecting the money, that's what's so important here. So these are the people, you guys need to have security. You guys need to have backing. You are the ones that need to have the funding always. So again, how I look at these people, I look at that as those sports people. They identify with their sports, but they need to have somebody sponsor them. So getting sponsorship to do your work, to do your inspiring work, that is how you're going to create your wealth. As long as there's a pool of resources there for you to pull on, that's how you are going to create your wealth. That is so important for you. Okay, so we'll play around with this. We'll play around with the wealth aspect of this particular, these particular crosses in the code.